Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel and to day 6 of Vlognukah. Don't forget, for the Patreon membership gifting giveaway thing, you can check out the info and link in the description. Become a free member, comment on the post, and then I will be randomly picking winners in early Jan. So I've gotten to the point now where I'm like, do I need to keep explaining this giveaway? But I'm gonna keep mentioning it in the description. So as usual, when it comes to having to make 8 videos at the end of the year, 9 technically, because I always like to make sure that the first video back in Jan is filmed and edited and ready to go, so we're not stressing when we come back after the holes. There's always going to be a Q&A thrown in there. Of course, of course. So I asked these questions over on my Instagram. There's a lot of like parenting stuff, Jewish stuff, trying to conceive stuff, work, career stuff, and then like Christmas and hobbies things as well. Those are some of the general themes that we're gonna make our way through. And let's dive in. Starting with some questions about being Jewish. Because, you know, this is Vlognukah after all, even if it is a very secular Vlognukah that involves eating ham sandwiches. Okay, so your questions. How do you incorporate Jewish traditions outside of the holiday season with Rowan? Honestly, not very well. I'm very lucky that one of my NCT friends is also Jewish, and in a similar way to me, where like not very Jewish, but also the kind of family and the culture and the heritage and the tradition side of it is important to us to pass on to our kids in whatever way we can manage. So when like local Jewishy things come up, we have tried to kind of do some stuff together, or we did a Friday night together once. So beyond like the holidays, it's been nice to have somebody else in a similar boat where we're trying. But one of my patrons who is Jewish and a rabbi actually introduced me to a like liberal progressive Jewish group that is fairly-ish local to me. And so I've been to a couple of their events, and on a monthly basis they do like a young Shabbat, so it's like a Friday night but it's like slightly earlier, and kids under 5 are welcome, and it's all kind of like geared towards them in terms of like stories and games. And then obviously you do the candles and the wine, although the kids get grape juice, which I'm just like, I love it. So outside of the holidays, I just want to go to more stuff like that. It's all very haphazard and ad hoc and just as and when I can. But I do love it when we are able to. Rowan ended up going to like 2-3 different Sukkot parties over one weekend, which was so fun. Right, were you able to get Rowan his German dual citizenship? Was it a difficult process? So it is currently still in the process. I think somebody who worked at the German embassy, who was my contact there, left, and then things got lost because I had somebody email me being like, you didn't send these extra documents that we needed. And I was like, yes, I did. Here's the email from the person confirming that they had received them. And this was like 2 years after I'd sent them. So it's slow, but it seems to be happening. So the reason I need to apply for Rowan is because I got my German citizenship after he was born. But for any future children I have, because I am now already German, they will be automatically German. I love that this has come under like the Jewish theme of questions, but obviously it is related because my family are German Jews. Okay, when do you feel most attached / aligned with your Jewish heritage? Probably just when I'm with family and like doing Jewishy things, honestly. It's those kinds of moments when I feel most connected to it. Like we do Passover, have a big thing for Pesach every year, big family meal. And so like, yeah, it's times like that. Keen to reconnect with my Jewish heritage now that we have a baby but don't know where to start. Help. Check out PJ Library. They send free books to families, like kids books that are age appropriate, to families that are all about different Jewishy things. I stopped receiving them just because I have too many books, but I might sign up again. I don't know. I had a wobbly moment where one of the books that we received was like celebrating something about Israel, and I was just like, nope. I was just like, I just need to cancel that. But I haven't looked into too much about the organization in terms of its political alignment, so I don't want to like say anything here because I've not looked into it. But I do think what they're doing in terms of like books for kids that are about Jewish holidays, and some of them are so cute and sweet, and like for babies and toddlers as well. So take with that what you will. Since not receiving the books, I know I felt like I've missed them. So I am planning on like looking back into it and just being like, but also maybe getting some secondhand from families who've already got some and want to pass them on. So that would be a good maybe place to start. But other than books, I don't really have any other ideas beyond like trying to find local Jewish community, but that's hard. Can you talk more about the separation between religion and culture? Yeah, I think that this can be quite confusing for non-Jewish people to grasp, whereas for me, it just feels so obvious because it was the way that I was raised, which is that for me, my Jewishness has nothing to do with religion. Very much raised in an atheist household, very much culturally secular Jewish. And my husband is very atheist and also has like struggled to grasp that there is a difference there. The way that I've tried to explain it was that I was like, if I was Dutch, or like if you had married a Dutch person, I don't know why it's Dutch, but like if he'd have married a Dutch person, there may be like Dutch foods, Dutch traditions, holidays, celebrations, different things that are a part of that culture that his partner may want to participate in and celebrate and pass on to their child. Language as well, huge thing. Not that I can speak any Hebrew, but that's what it feels like to me. It's my culture, it's my heritage. Obviously, it's not my nationality, that's very separate, and I feel I have no connection with Israel whatsoever, so it's not about that. My family are from Germany, so I feel a lot more connected to Germany than I do Israel, which is very telling. So I'm sure there's some more like academic explanations of like what Judaism actually is, because it's not really just a religion. It's called like an ethno-religious group. I don't even know, but even that doesn't quite work for me. So just ask the Jewish people in your life how they feel about it and that separation and what being Jewish means to them. Because there is, for me also, I enjoy that I don't understand Hebrew, because it means that I can say the prayers that maybe have stuff about God and thanking God for the wine and the bread and stuff. But in my head, I'm just making noises, I'm just making sounds. And so that helps me with the distance, because I'm really not a God person. I feel very uncomfortable when God gets invoked in things. Okay, what are traditional Hanukkah foods and treats? What are your faves? So the whole deal with food around Hanukkah is because we're celebrating the fact that the oil in the temple lasted 8 days instead of 1, and so the everlasting light in the synagogue could, you know, carry on burning. All of the food is very oily, which means that it's all very fried. So latkes is a huge one, which is basically a potato cake. So it's like a hash brown. So latkes are definitely one of my faves. Absolutely love latkes. And then donuts seem to be another one that my family do. Here's the thing with a lot of like Jewish festivals, especially if you're raised culturally Jewish, sometimes you're like, is this a my family thing or is this a Jewish thing? Latkes, definitely a Jewish thing. Donuts, not sure, because other people have donuts. But I love me some fried food, so gimme. I love making latkes with the family as a like activity in itself, and spending a whole week up in Manchester over Christmas and Hanukkah this year. You know, like when this video is coming out, I don't know. No, I think I'll be back home by the time this one's out. So hopefully we'll have made latkes one of those days. Ooh, favorite holiday tradition Rowan's not old enough for yet, but you'll share when he is. Oh my God, Purim! Guys, am I right? Purim? So Purim is the one where you tell the story of Esther, and it is all about dressing up. It's probably about some other things, there's some meanings and stuff, but for me, it's all about dressing up. Kids dress up as all the different characters from the story. You eat hamantaschen, which are like pastries with jam in the middle, which are named after the like baddie in the story. And you do like a big storytelling thing, and everyone gets these, what are they called? I want to say McGregor, but that's like Ewan McGregor. These like things, sometimes I think you see them at football matches, they like spin around and make a really loud noise. And whenever anyone mentions the baddie's name, which is Haman, in the story, everyone's like, boo! So Purim. Purim is one of my faves. I've not celebrated it in years, I'm hoping now that we're kind of connected to this Jewish group that they'll probably do like a Purim party gathering thing that will be kids oriented. So looking forward to that. I think it's like early spring Purim, maybe February, March, I don't know, but that I'm excited for. But then also another thing that he is not old enough for yet is Kiddush wine, having his first little summit of Kiddush wine, if he wants it. I'm not gonna pressure him to drink alcohol. And then also at Passover, at Pesach, during the Seder, there's this whole thing around like the youngest asking a question. And he's been the youngest at the last 2 Seders, but he's been too young to be the youngest one to ask the question. So I'm excited for him to like participate more in Seder if he wants to. Okay, moving on from the whole Jew thing. Work changes. No, that's not a segue at all. Do you miss your studio? So I don't, for the most part. The one thing that I really miss at the studio is the fast internet, because my God, getting 4K files, and they're long sometimes they're very long, or like lots of log footage uploaded to Google Drive so that my editor can have access to it, just takes so long at home. However, we just got a letter through the post saying that they're hopefully going to be bringing fiber internet to our area, and Dan was thrilled, and as am I. So I don't know when that will happen, if or when. So fingers crossed that makes the internet situation better. But that's really the only thing that I miss. I guess I also miss like having a space to like hang a lot of like work, art and things, because a lot of that stuff has kind of had to be put away until hopefully some point in the future I get my own like home office. But for the most part, I've loved transitioning to like working from home again and filming at home. Filming is actually much easier because there was so much stopping and starting because of the corridor that I was working on, of like people talking or door slamming or footsteps. So I don't have to deal with that anymore, which is great. And I don't have to pay for it anymore. So it saves me a lot of money too. Do you feel you've done well at refilling the well since leaving the main channel behind? This is an interesting question because like my main concern of the well refilling was in terms of sex and relationships stuff, which obviously now isn't relevant to my work, although with the Patreon book club where we've been reading non-fiction sex and relationships books, that has like refilled my well in a sense. But actually the really freeing part of that is that I then don't have the pressure of reading these books and then feeling like, okay, now I need to like make content about it. I can just read the books and like take bits for my personal life, discuss them with patrons. So yeah, I do feel in that sense my well is refilled, but also glad that I then don't have to empty it again, I guess, immediately. But in other ways, I do feel like I've been really able to refill the well. Just the fact that I've been working under capacity this year, so just generally life doesn't feel that hectic or stressed. I am able to do kind of like some home, like housework, like house chore-y things during my working day, which eases off the pressure off of me and Dan in the evenings and weekends, which is really helpful. And then also just having more leisure time. I have read more books this year than I ever have, and you will have already seen my favorite books of the year video, but I've not filmed it yet. And obviously it's still not the end of the year, but there is a very good chance that I will read 50 books this year, which is the most books I've ever read, and that is just wild to me. And I've had such a fun reading year, so that feels really good as well. And I've also gone to the cinema a couple of times. I don't know, I feel like the social and leisure and like hobby aspect of my well has also been refilled a lot this year, which feels really good. I can feel myself just like beaming thinking about all of the fun I've had. Do brands still contact you about sex ed work? Have you had to set firm boundaries around it? Yes. So my assistant Moog actually just like now has a template email that they use to respond to brands that reach out about like sex ed work. They're just like, Hannah no longer works in sex ed. Thank you so much. I believe they still have to use that every now and then. Do you feel like you're where you want to be career-wise? Are we ever where we want to be? Is there not always the next quest, leveling up? I feel like overall in my career, I'm not where I want to be because I can see what I would want in the future. But I am where I want to be right now, if that makes sense. Like what I want for the future is not what I want right now because I'm not ready for it yet. Like I don't want to rush into it, if that makes sense. So the position that I am in my career right now is what I want right now, if that makes sense. But that doesn't mean that I don't have goals and aspirations for the future. I'm just not desperate for those things to be happening now. I'm like, oh wait, yeah, no, I can see how if I take certain steps now and the path that I'm currently on is going to lead to those things. But I'm not like in anguish of like, oh, I'm not where I want to be. I'm like, no, I am where I want to be. And I can see also the next steps, if that makes sense. Moving on to YouTube. Let's get meta. Let's talk about YouTube on YouTube. How original. Right. Do you still get ideas for new sex and relationship videos but have to resist acting on them? Do you know what? No, I get no ideas. And I think that to me is a sign that I made the right decision, because what was happening before was that I was bleeding myself dry trying to come up with ideas. And then sometimes you'll find once you take the pressure off, suddenly all of the ideas come, and that's like a sign that like, oh, you've still got it in you, you just needed a break. Whereas the fact that I've given myself a year break and I have not had a single idea for a sex ed video that I've wanted to make, I think is a sign that I made the right call. What is your favorite/least favorite part of this video tradition? And I'm assuming by tradition you mean Vlognukah. How many years have I been doing this now? I do not know. All I remember is that the first year that I did it, Hanukkah was this time of year as well, between Christmas and New Year. And so I've clearly been doing it enough years for it to kind of like come around again to this time of year. But one of my favorite things is just having an alternative to Vlogmas and just having a little bit of like Jewish and Hanukkah like representation on the platform, even though obviously like these videos aren't very Jewish and aren't actually like very Hanukkah-y. It's not like Vlogmas where, you know, it's a daily vlog and it's like getting the Christmas tree, buying presents, going to a Christmas market. Although I think I did the first year, it was like making latkes and telling the story of Hanukkah, although I was drunk, I think, when I did that. And dreidel stuff. Obviously, we've got the dreidel video coming soon at the end. So I think for me, one of the things I like the most is just like, there's just a little bit of an infusion of just some like positive Jewish representation on YouTube, especially when it can be very like Christmas, Vlogmas centric in December. So I really like that. I also just really like the work challenge of it. Like it could be a least favorite thing, but actually I think it is a favorite, which is just like how busy it gets and how I have to like get my producer hat on and be like, okay, we need 9 videos, because 8 plus the January one, by this date, and then like working backwards from there and then figuring out like, okay, when do I need to start filming? What are the edit deadlines? Like, how are we actually gonna get it all done? Like, I really enjoyed that process. And also just like massive shout out to editor Beth, because not only during this hectic video holiday time is she editing all of my videos, but she said that she's got like 18 videos to edit between now and when we break for Christmas. So let's just all like spare a thought for the Vlogmas Vlognukah December YouTube video editors. Let's just, you know, keep them in our thoughts this season. So what is my least favorite part of doing it though? I think it's the worry that it's tired and boring and people aren't gonna care. I think those worries are always there, but they're so minuscule, and actually I'm kind of like, I don't care, I really enjoy it. I don't know if there are many like not as good things about doing it, hence why I keep doing it, because I like it. What's on your possible video ideas list right now? Okay, Good question. Let's find out, because I could not tell you off the top of my head, because I basically exhausted all of my ideas for Vlognukah. So let's see what we've got that could possibly be coming out next year. Possible 2025 videos. Let me know if any of these spark joy. Paying 3 different stylists to style me for a week, trying to style all merch. Oh, so this is in the fashion video. Styling my clothes then versus now. What does that mean? Styling my friends or being styled by my friends. What is this? Trying outfits that are not my style, doing a shop my own wardrobe, doing another like husband decides what I wear for a week. Ooh, followers style me from Vinted. Hey, hey, hey. Then in the home and parenting category, we've got loneliness, community and friendships. I've just got strawberry custard tarts. That's been written in there for ages. I kind of missed the boat on that. If I'm gonna do that, it'll need to be next summer. Putting some life into our balcony. We've got like more home reno stuff. We wanna do the hallway next year and the balcony next year. So there's that. What else have we got? We've got like what I eat in a week, what I spend in a week, talking about the budgeting app that I use, You Need a Budget, YNAB. When we get the bookshelves up, I want to do a new bookshelf tour. I want to do a whole video that's about books I didn't finish, but I don't have that many on the list currently. What is this? Doing like a reading vlog that's book recommendations from followers. Ooh, blind date with a book. I want to find one of those bookshops that have like books in wrapping paper where it just kind of like has a little tag on it that gives you like the general themes and vibes of the book, and you just buy it not knowing what it is. What else have we got? Oh, so that was in like my books category. And then in like personal category, I've got a 40 by 40 list video that I want to make, but I currently have, let me have a look. Where is it? I currently have 10 things on the list. Just not very ambitious at the moment. So as I am going through life, I am adding things to that list as and when I think of things, because I don't want to force it. Maybe I will never have a 40 by 40 list. Oh, a 2025 bingo board. What was that? Me and Moog came up with this idea and I'm like, what was that? I can't remember. Is coaching bullshit? What is the point of lifestyle content? Kind of similar to what I wrote in my newsletter recently. Why I haven't burnt out yet. Hiring an expert to help me with my LinkedIn. And then other things I'm like, would this be interesting to you? Kind of like self-employed freelance tips or like actual deep dives into my like productivity systems. I don't know. There's a list of some of my ideas. Will any of them ever get made? We'll see. Right, now I need to get back to your questions. Dream sponsor that you haven't already worked with and why? Why haven't I worked with them? Lego. I'm getting really into my adult Lego at the moment. Dan and I got each other the Lego Rivendell from Lord of the Rings set for Christmas. That is our joint present to each other, so we can like have quality bonding time whilst building out, and it arrived the other day and it looks so beautiful. It's gonna be so good. So Lego, and you know, if they want to like pay me to go to Legoland with Dan and Rowan and have a fun time at the theme park, that would also be great. Joni Clothing. I got some free clothes from them years ago and was like an affiliate of theirs. And then I kind of fell off the Joni wagon because I was just like, how sustainable is this brand? I don't know. But they seem to be doing very well in the realm of like ethics and sustainability now. And their clothes are just divine. And I've seen a couple other creator friends work with them on like Instagram content. So I'm like, hey Joni, you know, if you're in the market. And I've also like bought some shoes and trousers from them recently, which I adore. The green shoes that I have, they're Joni Clothing. That fairy tale theme park in the Netherlands that I can't remember the name of, but I saw it on like the Travel Mums Instagram. And then I saw that Jessica and Fozard and her family did some work with them and a trip there, and I'm like, yes, please. I would love to work with Caledonian Sleeper, which is the sleeper train that takes you from London to Scotland. Going on the Caledonian Sleeper is on my bucket list. I do not know how child-friendly it would be, so I'm like, would this have to be a non-baby trip? And then also like, if you have your own private room, which is probably what you would need if you have a kid with you, it's so expensive. But going on the Caledonian Sleeper is lifetime bucket list thing for me. And then theatres. just working with London theatres. I have a relationship with the Old Vic. I occasionally get invited to press nights of their plays, and honestly, I don't feel like I've ever been disappointed by a play at the Old Vic. They put on such incredible stuff. I recently had a conversation with some people from National Theatre and National Theatre Live, and so I'm like, hey guys, please. Anyway, this is just me sucking up to brands currently, but in case you were wondering about where my brain is currently at, that's it. Trains, theme parks, theatre, sustainable, funky clothes, and Lego. There you go. Do you wish you made more collabs? Yes, I kind of do. Like, I have done a few collabs recently, like Sean, Lucy, and Simon, but that was all me inviting them to be on my channel for a specific purpose. I do feel like I miss the days where it's like, ooh, let's work together to figure out a video for both of our channels. That's not something that like happens so much these days, but I am in the market, baby. I'm in the market, channels of a similar size, to figure out something if there's things that we could talk about together. And you know, you want to have me on your podcast, chat about work stuff, chat about parenting stuff, chat about chronic illness stuff. I've got a whole list of things that I can do. But yeah, I do miss the collab stuff. And I think especially as I'm like getting back into this side of YouTube where I'm just kind of having a bit more fun, I'm like, oh yeah, that'd be good. Would you do a follower census again for the More Hannah channel? Probably not, because that census was like specifically like a sexy survey. It was like getting into the sex lives of the audience. Last year, I did keep talking about doing like a census for my Patreon, but just never got around to it. So it's kind of one of those things that if I do it, it would probably be just a Patreon thing, and it would be like, it's kind of, I'm afraid, at the bottom of the list. But if I did one that was like for this YouTube channel, so like, or for my Instagram, because that is where I like put out the questions. So if I were going to do a Hannah Witton Instagram follower survey census, what kinds of things would you want to know about each other that's like not sex and relationships based? I'm curious, because if there's some good juicy things in there, then maybe I'll consider it. Christmas! Obviously this video is coming out after Christmas. It is before Christmas, but let's still talk about it. How do you decorate your Christmas tree? Color themed or multicolored with tinsel? I am a multicolored with tinsel gal, an eclectic bunch of decorations. I enjoy finding at least one new decoration every year to like add to the collection, so it is not matchy in the slightest. The only thing that is kind of matchy is the baubles that I made that are just plastic baubles, clear plastic baubles that I put in the dried flowers from mine and Dan's wedding in, and so they go on the Christmas tree. So that's really lovely that like every year we get the Christmas tree and then we get out these like bauble flowers from our wedding, which I'm like, cute, but everything else is just like a complete beautiful colourful mess, and probably we'll be able to insert a picture of it. This is our Christmas tree this year. Ta-da! Are you excited for the holidays, and which holiday food are you excited to eat? Okay, again, this is in my future, your past. I am very excited for the holidays. I'm excited to spend an entire week in Manchester at my parents' house. I love bellinis with smoked salmon and sour cream on Christmas morning. I obviously love all the chocolate. Now, I love Christmas dinner and like the roast potatoes and the pigs in blankets and like all of that. But this year, because my parents are hosting a lot of people, like it's going to be a big Christmas day, we are actually going to a restaurant for the first time, but not for a Christmas dinner. We're going somewhere that I think does like Middle Eastern food. So it's going to be a lot of like small plates, like mezes kind of thing. So I'm like very excited about that. I am a bit sad that I'm not going to get like a Christmas dinner this year, but maybe I can persuade Dan just to like make a roast dinner at home, because he often does that. So yeah, I'm very excited for like a different kind of Christmas Day dinner, but we'll still do our traditions of food, of like the sharing plates, the bellinis, the crisps, the carrots, the cucumber, the hummus, the crackers, the pate. My mum makes a delicious chicken liver pate. See, that is a Jewish tradition that I need my mum to pass down to me. I need my mum to teach me how to make her chicken liver pate. I felt deeply offended when watching the Netflix TV show Nobody Wants This, where the Kristen Bell's character, can't remember her name, eats the Jewish mum's chicken liver pate for the first time and finds it disgusting. And I was like, oh, excuse me, it's delicious. Anyway, so there's my 2 cents on that. Loved that TV show. Okay, some home questions. How do you feel now living in your flat after you've worked on your rooms? So much better. Like, Dan and I seem to be on the same page about this, and we've been saying to each other like, oh, we do not feel the pressure to move. And in fact, because we've been working on the rooms and making them more to our taste aesthetically, but also function, like adding all of the storage that we need for things, we're just like, we want to enjoy this space that we've created. We want to live in it. And even though we are, you know, still trying for baby number 2, like, we can all fit in here. So it does feel like we're in a much better position in terms of like, we don't feel like we need to move. Obviously, you know, you never know what's going to happen. But coming from that place of like, we're not in a desperate need to move, just will hopefully, if and when the time comes, make the process so much easier because we won't be like stuck and desperate. Because also I have no idea what's going to be happening with the like house prices and stuff and mortgage rates and yada, yada, yada. So there could be a situation where we can't move. And so by, you know, making this place how we want it to be, and we're excited to stay here and live here, that's what we want. Since you want a second kid, have you started the house search again for space? No, I kind of answered that in my little spiel then. But no, we are very content with having a second baby in this space. I think there is plenty of room, and we'll see. Are you still happy in your flat, browsing Rightmove in your spare time? Oh yeah, always browsing in my spare time. Still love that. I love keeping an eye on the house prices. I love seeing what things are going for, what's becoming available. And honestly, like, I'm looking like every day, every week, and there's only been 2 houses that have come up that I would like be like, yeah, I would want to live there. And yeah, there's not much going. Okay, on to hobbies. How do your tennis matches work? Like, how do I find places to sign up in my area? So I don't know what your area is, but I use an app called Spin Tennis. I don't know if it's just London, so sorry if it is. But one, I do like group coaching at some local tennis courts. So, you know, find where your local tennis courts is, your local tennis club, see what they've got going on. They probably have like socials or group coaching, whatever it might be, or the Spin Tennis app, or there's also, I think, local tennis leagues. If you search something around that, what it essentially does is you sign up, you give your area. When you initially sign up, you'll answer a bunch of questions about like your level and your ability with tennis. And then it places you in a league, in a group, in a division, and you all play matches against each other and score points, and those you just like arrange with those strangers like through the app. And so that's how I play matches, in like a little mini kind of competitive but just a hobby friendly league. And then depending on like your scores or whatever at the end, then you get placed in a different division or the same division. So hopefully the idea is that you are placed in a division with people at a similar level to you. And so that's how I do it, and it's really great fun. You get 30 minutes of bonus uninterrupted you time. What do you do with it? Oh my God, I have so many questions about this question, because I'm thinking like, realistically, I would just scroll on my phone if I'm being realistic. But in an ideal world, 30 minutes isn't a huge amount of time. So like, maybe just sit and read a book, maybe watch an episode of a TV show, maybe just catch up on some YouTube videos. Like, am I at home? Like, if I'm at home, that's kind of what I would do. It's not very exciting, is it? But that's it. Favorite movie of the year, guys, Wicked. At the time of filming this, I've only seen it once, but I desperately want to go see it again. So it just blew me away. I love the musical. I've been to see the musical like at least 5 times. It's probably the musical that I've seen the most like on stage. And I was so nervous going in to see the film. I was like, this is gonna disappoint me. I was just like really lowering my expectations, and they fucking did it. They did a phenomenal adaptation. I'm gonna cry if I think about it. I cry because it's just so beautiful, but also cry because I really want to go see it again, and I don't know when I'm going to go see it. Anyway, moving on. Do you listen to Taylor Swift's music as autobiographical or separate from her? I think a little healthy dosage of both. I feel like I enjoy knowing some aspects of her life to give context to some songs, but I don't treat that as like the be all and end all of what that song could be about. I like leaving room for like my own interpretations or just vibes or like not even like caring. So I do find a lot of joy in the like digging into lyrics and stuff, especially because I just think with the huge body of work that she has, like analysing Taylor Swift lyrics is honestly, I think sometimes the closest that I get to really analysing poetry and being like, oh, this lyric over here is similar to this lyric over here, and like, are they connected? Like, I find that really fun and actually like an exercise in literary analysis, or like on that level, I really enjoy it, but without going to the level of like insane speculation about her personal life, because I just couldn't care less. Actually, I could care a little bit less, but for the most part, I don't really care. But I enjoy it on a level of like imagining if the whole thing were just fiction and still like, and connecting the dots of like a mystery in your favorite book. That is fun. I'm obsessed with your necklace. It suits you so much. Can you share the story behind the piece? Yes, I can. I'm in fact wearing it now, but I was worried about it knocking the microphone. It is from a company called Zephyr Jewelry, and it's an independent small business. She finds like broken glass on beaches, on shores, and you know how it gets worn down and like the glass becomes like nice and smooth, and she turns them into jewelry. And I discovered her when I went to this Circle pop-up. Circle is this like circular fashion secondhand company. They often have a lot of like higher end brands, so even though it's secondhand, it's still quite expensive, but you get like some really decent stuff. And I went to a pop-up that they were doing, and so they had all the clothes, but then they also had some other like independent small businesses there selling, their products. I saw her there, an array of beautiful necklaces, mostly blue and green, because that is often the color of like glass that gets washed up on shore, except there was this one orange one, and she said that it's the only orange one that she has because it's quite rare to find like orange glass on the beach. And I was like, oh my God, because immediately drawn to it. Also orange, it just goes with so many of my clothes, as you've probably seen. Like, I wear it almost every day with so many of my clothes. Like, these earrings and this necklace have just like become my staples. I didn't think I could talk so much about this necklace, but like, here we are. Anyway, so I was like, I need to have a think. I'm gonna come back for this. And I tried on all of the clothes that I was trying on. And then when I was done, I went back to her and was just like, I can't stop thinking about it, I must have it. And I think it cost me £50, which was quite expensive for me in terms of like spending money on jewelry, but I couldn't stop thinking about it. And the amount that I wear this, like literally on a daily basis, and when did I buy it? Probably over a year ago now. So that cost per wear is like pennies now. So that's the story. Moving on to some parenting and motherhood questions. How do you feel about London as your child grows up? I kind of feel neutrally about it. Like, on the one hand, I get sad every time I hear a little bit of a southern London accent come out of that kid's mouth. I'm like, no, it's Bath, not Bath. But on the other, like, I feel like it must be exciting to kind of grow up in a capital city. I grew up in Manchester, big city, but like nowhere near as big as London. There's so much to do here. Whenever I see like kids on school trips going out to things in London, I'm like, damn, like school kids in London get really fucking cool school trips. So I'm excited hopefully for him to go on lots of those. Also, he's starting to understand where he lives. So he knows that grandma and granddad live in Manchester. And then the other day he was like, we live in London. There's the underground. I like going in the tunnel and on the trains. And I'm like, ah, and I just find that very cute. Does your toddler know where babies come from? No, he's 2.5, and yeah, he's no idea. He's not expressed any interest or curiosity in where babies come from. So that's fine with me. Hopefully, if and when I get pregnant, that will be probably the starting point of having some of those conversations. And he has seen some other pregnant people. I'll be like, look, she's got a baby in her belly. Not interested. Did you have a hard time naming your child? Have you had a lifelong list? I haven't really had a lifelong list. There've always been a few names that I've liked and been drawn towards. But when it came to naming Rowan, we kind of just started from scratch. The only criteria that we had really was it being a gender neutral name and fairly common or normal. Like I would want people to like immediately recognize the name and like know how to pronounce it if they saw it written down, or know how to spell it if they heard it. So that's where we started from. I had a huge list of names that I really liked. Dan was a lot more picky, and in the end Dan just randomly became obsessed with tree names. He wanted oak and I was like, absolutely not, veto. And then ash was up there as a name, which I really like. It's also gender neutral and it's obviously a tree. And then one day Dan was like looking up trees, like British UK trees online, and like Rowan came up, and both of us were like, oh, didn't realize that Rowan was a tree. And you know what? Now I see Rowan trees everywhere. There's even a Rowan tree like on our street, which is great for us because Rowan is very excited about trees and berries. He's like, it's my berries. I'm like, yeah. So that's how the name Rowan came about. But I don't think we had a particularly hard time of it, because once we'd learned that Rowan was a tree, so Dan was happy, and we both were like, ooh, Rowan. I don't know, it stuck. And we were like, that's it, done. How do you deal with picky eating with Rowan? I don't deal, I just kind of accept, because he's a toddler and most toddlers are picky eaters. I'm an adult and I'm still a picky eater, and I was a horrendously picky eater, even more so as a child, and I've definitely got better, and I'm just like, he'll be fine. In the long term, he's gonna be fine. And you know, we try and offer him lots of different foods, but ultimately I'm mostly interested in him and just being fed. And vegetables aren't a big hit, but we try and stick with the ones that he does like. So peas and sweet corn, great. And he loves fruit. So I'm like, just eat lots of fruit and then you can eat whatever you want within reason. How much self-sacrifice do you think is normal for a parent? Is there a boundary? I think where the boundary is going to be personal. I also think it's incredibly gendered in that mums are expected to sacrifice more, or at least it's more normal for them to have sacrificed more than dads do. So I think it's going to be entirely personal in terms of like where you feel like you're happy to make certain sacrifices and where it really feels like it's a violation, I guess. You do need some time for yourself, and I know sometimes it feels like that's not possible at all, but it is. Obviously sometimes it requires asking for help, but I think when it becomes too much is when you completely lose yourself in that self-sacrifice, because you still need to, you know, hold on to the things that make you outside of being a parent. Would you want to go back to work full-time once Rowan and any future kiddos are in school? No, don't make me. No, I don't know. Maybe when he's in school, I'm like, will I go back to working Fridays again? Possibly, you know, because the school day is shorter, like you have to pick up at 3. So if my work day is shorter, will I then make up for it by working Fridays as well? Or will we just stick him in after school club every day and then I have Fridays to myself? I mean, that sounds like a better scenario to me, am I right? Am I right, ladies? But all of that is yet to be seen, who knows? Okay, moving on to the TTC, trying to conceive stuff. How did you know you were ready for baby number 2? Emotionally, physically, financially? Just felt ready. No, I feel like I felt ready a lot earlier than when we actually started trying, but because I was making the big career changes at the end of last year, I was just like, I need to see through this. I need to get all the announcements out, I need to get the videos out, I need to get Vlognukah out. And so that was kind of the cutoff point for us. I was like, I just need to close this chapter, I need to finish all of this, and then we can start trying. Do I regret that? Do I wish we started trying sooner? Yes. But equally, I didn't want to risk getting pregnant too soon and being really, really ill and not being able to wrap everything up nicely in the way that I did last year. How's TTC this time different from the first time, if at all? It feels more urgent this time, maybe because of the age gap thing, maybe because lots of my other mum friends have had their seconds or are pregnant with their seconds. I feel like it's harder as well because we have a toddler who still doesn't fully sleep through the night, and so you know, actually finding time to have sex is a lot harder than the first time round when, you know, we didn't have kids. So, you know, there was a lot more freedom in that sense. So sometimes, like, logistically, it's like, oh shit, that's my fertile window, but we're gonna be away. And so we're gonna be staying in this person's house. So how do we do this? Or like, I'm gonna be away, and so we need to make sure this, but Rowan is sleeping in our bed. So like, what do we do? So it's just, yeah, so that is also just makes it a bit more complicated too. Do you regret sharing that you are TTC? No, not at all. I think because it's just like such a huge looming thing over my life, and because I share a lot of my life online, it feels difficult to hide it. Like it's just the thing that is constantly bubbling at the surface of my thoughts and everything. And so it just comes out of me, you know, and like even just like when I'm talking to new people that I meet and they're like, oh, what's going on with you? Or like, you know, I was at a business networking thing and they're like, what are your goals for 2025? And the first thing that I said was like, I want to get pregnant. I'm like, these are just people I've just met. And I'm like, I want to get pregnant because I just can't not share it. But actually that it always leads to really lovely moments of connection and understanding. And I don't know, it helps me, I think, like giving the context to where I'm at. I think it just helps with that understanding. I don't know. I don't regret it. How's metformin going? I started it at a similar time for PCOS, not TTC. So yes, I'm on metformin, been prescribed by my GP. It is a diabetes medication, but it is often given to people with PCOS to help like regulate cycles and also with conceiving. So I had some ridiculously long cycles before I started metformin, 59 days and 76 days. And then since on metformin, they've been 45 and 41 days. And then because I wasn't experiencing any of the side effects, I asked my GP if I could up the dose. So we've doubled the dose. Also because I don't have a colon, it's like, how much am I really absorbing? Am I not getting side effects because I'm actually not getting the effects? So that's tricky. And I'm currently on day 28 of this cycle and no signs of ovulation yet. So we will see. It's looking, you know, if I ovulate today or tomorrow, then it's looking like another 40 plus day cycle. So we'll see. We'll see. And I have been filming for over an hour, so we're going to wrap up this Q&A here. Thank you so much for sending in your questions and for watching this video. If you have any follow-up thoughts, comments, questions, do leave them in the comments and I will try and get back to you. Don't forget the Patreon membership Vlognukah gifting thing. All of the information links in the description. And I hope that you're all doing well and I'll see you tomorrow for the penultimate Vlognukah video. Bye! I just realized I think I was wearing this jumper in the last Q&A that I did. I think I was.